the drama with Miss Kiki Palmer. What in the world? What did you? Okay, so let's just handle one thing at a time. We're gonna do this briefly because it's just an icebreaker. The dress. I, for one, think it was a bit inappropriate. I don't want to see nobody's booty when I go out to the club. Whether it's Kiki, I mean, it looked nice or not. It was inappropriate for me, just in my taste. What do you guys think?
I do want to see your booty when I'm out at the club. I don't know what you talking about,
Well, that was a
but
concert.
it's hey, look, it's all good for me now. But what I want to say is, and I'm gonna make it real quick. First of all, dude knew Kiki for what 4 5 years. So you have 4 5 years to vet, 4 5 years to say to get to bend the knee and say, hey, will you marry me? He chose not to do that. Since he didn't do that, he still had a kid with her. Yo, bro, like how she act is how she act because you the fool that didn't wife her up, so you don't have like honestly, my opinion is you don't have an opinion on the matter. If you have 4 or 5 years to make the decision to choose to marry her, and since you didn't, what do they say? You're single until you're married. So she moved like a single chick.
But is that even tasteful for a single chick?
Well,
Hey, look, move how you want to move. Like dude knew how she was. Like there to me, there's no real excuse. Like you know how she is. Either you want to make her your wife or you don't. And if you don't want to make her your wife, don't plant your seed. Like and so don't throw it back on her face when you have decided that that isn't like she's not going to be your wife. I understand the girlfriend boyfriend aspect, and that's kind of what people was getting hung up on. And I can agree when we're talking 4 5 6 7 months in, but when you 4 5 years in, that's on you, bro.
well, what I was gonna say is kind of to piggyback off of what AP said. I think the issue is you're expecting. I know I might get in trouble for this, but wifely respect when you haven't made her a wife. You want her to give you that husband respect where you can step in and say, do this or don't do that. But in reality, when I saw some of her old posts, she specifically stated that I'm single until I'm married. And this was in I think 2021 when I saw that specific post. So in that regard, I kind of agree with AP in the fact that I don't think he has as much say so in what she wears or what she does outside of the fact of him being concerned with the fact that that is his baby's mother. And for me, that's where I see where the dress is inappropriate. She is in relationship with him. So I do think there is a level of discernment and respect that should come along with that if she's claiming him as her man. And if she do know that that's something that he would have had an issue with, just for me being in relationship, I would have respected that personally. But outside of him just thinking about the fact that she does have a kid, and later on I wouldn't want anybody to be able to be like, I saw your mama's butt, like that kind of stuff. So that is something that she should take into consideration with that. Not saying that she didn't wear the dress well, but I just don't think it was appropriate for where she is at this stage in her life. That's just my opinion.
I don't think it's appropriate no matter what stage you are in your life. It makes no sense. Now, some people could be somewhat fine with the way that it shows in the front. I mean, hey, listen, some people will be like, hey, that's a little much for me, but most people can tolerate it because we won't say that she didn't look good. But the second she made that turn and it turned 180, and I was like, wait a minute. That's when it went from questionable to you done lost your mind. That's ridiculous. And I also think it's ridiculous that just because he not her husband, right? I don't think it's a very valid argument that when you are dating a woman, you're responsible no matter what point you with this woman to protect her in some way, to provide for her in some way, to provide some sort of utility as far as being able to help and make reasonable decisions so that you can move on to whatever decision that y'all trying to make. I don't think it makes any reasonable sense with the way that women operate naturally, that women typically get majority of the benefits before they get married. It's just that the legal benefits kick in once they get married. He's willing to protect you more times than not, even if y'all not married. He's willing to pay for you and pay for some things, that financial life before you're married. He
I don't think
literally
he had
does.
a job though, right? Because I read that he was
We
unemployed.
we
He had
not
no
talking about him
employment. Oh,
specifically. I'm just talking about the argument. Because whether he had a job or not, she saw fit to have a child with this dude.
okay.
And
So go ahead. I'm sorry because I have ADD. But go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, I feel you. But to me, it's just nonsense to say that just because he's not your husband does not mean that you can't tell her what to do. You can tell her what to do, but she
Right.
grown.
So you're saying that baby daddies have power even when they're not in the household.
I'm not even saying baby daddies have power. I'm saying that if that is your man, right, and you want him to be responsible for you, protect you, and do some things for you, i.e., pay for stuff or help you in your life, add to your life, he has some say so. Now, granted, you can reject that, whatever he want to give you, because you grown, because obviously a lot of women are rejecting men they're even married to. So to me, I think it's a dumb argument for you to sit here and say that just because you're not married to him, you can't tell him, he can't tell you what to do. I think
So
that's
But
so
dumb.
I'm
when he knows,
so
but when he
real
knows who
quick.
she is, like I'm sorry to cut you off, Shan, but when he knows who she is, this wasn't a surprise to him. He knew exactly the kind of woman that she is was, and he has had 5 years to make the decision if he wanted to accept her for who she is or not accept her for who she is, and then he comes out in a very public way to denounce her actions or her dress or whatever the hell he denounced, knowing who she is. A, he is wrong for that, and B, if he really wanted real say in her life, if he really wanted like his opinion to really count, he would have married her, bro. Like there's no way around
So
that.
Well,
real fast. Give me. Oh, Lewis, I know you haven't talked yet, but I just wanted to put this, and I'm gonna let you go. Okay. So, are we saying now that boyfriends should have husband rights? Because
I,
if that's it, if that's listen what I'm saying. If that is the situation, there are several men who will have a lot of rights to your woman before she becomes your woman.
so a right is different than having a say so, because the thing is listen, if she has slept with another dude that she is strongly like influenced by, listen, that other dude already got her. You know what I'm saying? She's on borrowed time. But I'm talking specifically, men are taught and are trained, even by women, that we need to provide things out the gate that a lot of women would consider is husband stuff. We're willing to provide for some things. We're
Like
willing to be
what
responsible for
example?
you,
Provide for
paying for
what example?
dates. Sometimes people will pay for your bills without marrying you. Brothers will do
How
stuff like
often is
that.
that though?
But I'm just saying, we're willing to give a lot
Shan, that's
for
pretty
almost
often actually.
nothing.
What I'm saying to you is, I think that it's safe to say, even in that situation, that's a case by case situation.
You can make
Do
a case by
listen.
case.
What I'm saying to you is, what you may do if he doesn't have a job and she's making the money maker. We can safely say that that's not going on. Okay, so is it safe to say we can't? The one thing about us, we don't know what their relationship entails. Just because I have never had a man just come a boyfriend, you know, say, "Oh, I'm gonna pay all of your bills." Now they may pay one, but they ain't paying all and not living in a separate household. How many? If we're sitting here saying the average person only makes 47,000, you're saying the average person can handle two households?
I'm not saying that two people are see, I'm not saying that he's paying for most men are paying for all things, right? What I'm saying is he has to provide a level of something, whether it's something that you desire. Like, say, for instance, if you want to go out more, right? Or you want to be taught certain things, or you want help with making certain decisions or doing certain things. Like, there are a lot of brothers that provide these things without you being married to them. And I oftentimes, like, and that's the reason why also a lot of guys are friend zone, because they give a lot of qualities to women that it would just take from them. And then these women will just keep it moving. But listen, I agree with AP. Listen, this woman has shown who she was for years. And it's his fault for sure. I'm talking just specifically about the argument that you can't tell her nothing just because you're her husband. If
Well, he
even
didn't. I don't think that's unfair to say because we didn't. We don't know what the rebuttal was. You know, it
no.
seems
I'm just
so.
talking about the argument. I'm not talking
But
about
we don't know. But there was no argument. So she did something obviously without him knowing. So he
I think
responded.
he's talking about the premise of the
I'm
argument
Oh,
that
talking
I
got you
laid
for
out.
your argument. Okay.
Yeah, when I mean usually when I say argument, it's not because I'm not saying we fussing. What I'm saying is it's your statement, your claim, your idea, or the notion. That's what I'm talking about. But the
Got you.
argument that people have said, well, he should have married her if he wanted say in her life. But when you ask these men and you ask these women, he still got limited say, even though that's his husband, that's her husband. I'm telling
That's
you.
not her husband, though, right?
No, I'm not
Oh,
talking about
okay.
specifically in this
Okay.
case. I'm talking
We're talking
about
about
in
this
general.
particular because we know husbands have. We're
But
not.
even in this case, if he had a child with you, you mean to tell me the guy that got you got a child with ain't got no say?
So in that case, and we're gonna get to that because then that means that
We see that a lot.
that means that when another man takes over your household, that man still has a say because you can't say in one hand he has say and in another one he's just forgiving his say.